started like right here. If you could follow a line, we don't need to do the whole thing. Okay. Let's get it centered on this thing. We're using these color sensors to check. Damn, that's hard to see, huh? Let's see if I can focus on it. Nope. All right, whatever. Let's press left bumper and A to enter the obstacle course mode. And we'll see what happens. And I'll just leave this controller right here because I don't need it. It's gonna do everything by itself now. So it should make its way into this room, and then it should scan the room and figure out the best path to escape. It's not going to want to leave the way it came in, so it should identify this gap here as the best way out. So we'll see if it does. So it got to the end of the line, and it's now doing a seeking pattern to see if it can find the line, and it didn't. So now it's scanning the room that it's in, trying to see where all the walls are, using that distance sensor and the yaw readings, and doing trigonometry to map the room. So it seems like it found the right way out. Now it's going to go straight until it sees a white line, and then it's going to be looking for this target here. And that target is going to point it towards the object that it's supposed to pick up. And then it needs to pick that object up and bring it past this line. So let's see, is it gonna find it? It looks like, yep. Oh, wait, hold on. It might be the darkness is giving it some trouble. Come on, buddy, you got it, you got it. Oh no, I don't think it's got it. We'll see. Yeah, it didn't get it. All right, here, you got it, I believe. And it drops it. It's the dim lighting that fucked it up. But yeah, it worked. Controller's well over here the whole time. Are we gonna get it? Come on, dude. Oh.
Yes!
Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the code real quick for this robot. So first on the left here, I don't know if you can, nope, you cannot see my mouse on the OBS screen. Okay, cool. So on the left window here, we have the Xbox controller code. So that allows me to control the robot with my Xbox controller, and then different button combos, start different modes and services and stuff like that. And then it has like some smoothing effects and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool. On the right hand screen here, we have the obstacle course code. So this is pretty intense, but so let's see, it's long as fuck, 531 lines. So I import a bunch of different libraries that I need. I initialize my sensors and motors, so that's going to be like the motors, the IMU, the distance sensor, the color sensors, the magnets, stuff like that. So then I get some variables for the camera config, initialize and start the camera, a bunch of global variables that are going to be needed for various functions, and then some seeking behavior parameters, so that it knows how to find the line again when it loses the line. So then I got a bunch of functions here. So we got the toggle the magnet function, find the largest polygon function. As it approaches the target polygons, some of them will go out of view, so it's gonna have to find the next smallest one and the next smallest one and the next smallest one, and then once it can't find any more, it should stop. And then this is the function to find the center of those polygons so that it knows how to aim the robot towards the center of those when it finds them. It's going to calibrate the line sensor when it first starts up, so it's going to take color readings of the sensor. So you start it on the line, and it says, you know, red is this, green is this, blue is this. And if those things deviate, it knows how to correct to get back on the line. So update distance, this is just a function that one of my threads is going to use, that it constantly reads the distance sensor on the robot. and saves it to a global variable. Same thing for this. It's updating the yaw. It's reading the IMU and taking that yaw and updating it to a global variable. This adjust motors based on yaw is going to be is crucial, because when it goes into that straight line mode, it actually uses the yaw as the guide, because those motors aren't going to be exactly accurate. If you just put them both to 100%, it might start to veer. So it actually uses the IMU and detects that it's going straight, exactly straight. Cluster high distance readings it's using this to get out of that room. So it takes the biggest distance and puts them into big groups. Finding target, that's exactly doing that. It's finding the best group of those clusters. And then we align to the target. So as it mapped everything in that room, it built a big table, and it basically says, you know, at this yaw, at this degrees, the distance was this, and at this degrees, the distance was that, and at this degrees, the distance was that. And it looks at the whole entire table, and it says, you know, here was the gap that we think we should exit based on, you know, the coding and the logic. And then it says, okay, well, that looks like the middle of that gap was at, you know, let's say 50 degrees yaw. And then this function will allow me to align the robot to that yaw, so then it can then jump into the next mode. This is just a function for detecting a white line. So once it's in that straight mode, it's going to be, you know, trying to stay true to that yaw degree angle until it finds a white line, where in that point it'll stop. Function, this one uses yaw again to say, you know, we're pointed this degrees yaw, and we need to go to the left 90 degrees yaw from that. So that's just a function I wrote for that to make that part easy. And then start threads. So we have two threads again. The main thread is obviously the program as it runs, but then there's two separate threads that are running in the background constantly, just reading the distance sensor and updating, and reading the yaw and updating constantly. That way those things don't get slowed down or interrupted at all by the main program. The PID controller, that's the proportional, integral, and differential. It's like smoothing motions as you move motor speeds and stuff like that. So we set that, initialize that, and then we jump into the actual code. So the first, when we first start up the robot, it's in line follow mode. So it's meant to start on a line, centered on a line, and first it's gonna, you know, calibrate the sensor, and then find that line. This is probably my worst section of code. It's pretty inefficient. I have a lot of lines of code for this part, because it's gotta, if it loses the line, it needs to check if it's seeking, and then go into a seeking pattern if it loses the line to find the line again. Additionally, because I'm adjusting the motor speeds, sometimes it might try to go faster than it's allowed to, so I have to have the overspeed corrections in there. So if it tries to send 120 speed to the right motor, for example, like obviously it can't do that, so it just needs to subtract 20 from the left motor to compensate. So that fixes the math there. But then once it finds the end of the line and it can't, it does the seeking pattern, still can't find the line, it knows it's done. It's found to the end of the line. So then it's going to exit this section of code and jump into the next one, which is the escape room section. And in this section, it looks short, but those functions are just being called, and those functions are pretty big. So it looks around that room and finds the target being the gap, the best gap. And then once it finds that, it sleeps for 1 second and then aligns itself to that target. And then stop and wait. Yeah, I could have the robot move forward a little bit, but I didn't. I might do that later. But anyways, once it finds the, and it's aligned with the gap that's best, it's gonna go into the straight shooter mode. The dumb name, but that's what I called it. So it's just going to use that yaw sensor to go straight until it hits that white line. So like if it finds the line, it stops, and then it does that 90-degree turn using that yaw again. It does the math. It says, you know, we're aimed at this angle, and we need to subtract 90 degrees from it to turn left. So then once we're pointed at the general direction of where the target being like the polygon is located, we're going to turn on the magnet. Might as well do it now. So we toggle the EMAG on, And then we jump into this section of code, which is finding and approaching that marker. So we set up new PID settings for this because it's going to be using the camera and trying to detect those polygons with 7 sides and figuring out exactly where in the frame they are. And you can use PID to kind of make that smooth in terms of finding and adjusting to point towards it. So once it's pointing towards it, it's going to move forward at about 23% speed until it can't find any more polygons. And that what it means is it's gotten so close that the polygons are so big that it can't see them anymore, and at which point it should be right on top of that item that it's supposed to pick up. So since the magnet was already activated, then we just go into a back it up. So it's going to just go full speed backwards for 7 seconds. Then toggle the magnet to drop the item, continue going backwards for 1 more second, and then stop. So that's the entire code. This will exit and then give me full control back to the Xbox controller. And I have like shitloads of scripts. Each of these sections of code are actually their own individual scripts. And they can be triggered individually if you do different button combinations. So if I wanted to go into just straight line mode, I can do that. If I want to do, turn on the obstacle course mode, I do left bumper and A, for example. I can have it detect hands and look at the hands. There's a bunch of cool stuff this thing can do. This is just, a demo of the code for the obstacle course, though. So that about wraps that up. So now let's see it in action. Or wait, no, we probably already did, because I'm going to put this part at the end of the video, so that way you don't get bored. Yeah, let's watch it work first.